Welcome back, War Room fans. Game 8, Part 2. Starting up game turn 3. I'd like to start out this segment with some shout out to the War Room fans on the Payne State channel, that is. Bill Calloway. Bill believes that he doesn't think bombers are that powerful, that over time they'll lose their potency as the game progresses.
Which is true. I mean, once you've bombed a spot into oblivion, you can't really do much more to it.
That is true. But I think guys on the forums on axesanallies.org and Board Game Geek would disagree with Bill. But, hey, that's Bill's opinion. But also, Lord Ethelwolf, he agrees with Bryce and I that those bombers do not lose their potency over time. And they're an existential threat to the game.
Yes. Lord Ethelwolf is very wise.
Yes.
And anybody who agrees with us is very wise.
Yes. And he also agrees that subs need something to help them out. Because right now the subs are, that's it. They're meh.
Well, he actually did bring up a good point, though, that Kevin and I talked about when we did our debriefing last game. And that is, in all the games we've played of this game, the subs have never done anything.
Yeah. They're just...
And, I mean, because even if they can manage to get to one of these spaces, which is not easy to do when you've got your 9 moves that you're limited to, even if you do manage to get here, you're usually going to have planes and ships that interdict that. Because remember, if there's a combat, even if you survive, you don't get to do your convoy.
That is true. That's one of the optional rules I was thinking about, which Bryce and I will discuss at some point. Okay, to ex-Joker. He says we need more spice. He was talking about some crazy India Calcutta Crush turn 1, but I don't even think it's feasible. He was talking about bringing German air units out of Ukraine, but they can't hit India. But he obviously thinks that you should do crazy, insane scenarios on turn 1. Well, sorry, ex-Joker. Came to the wrong game room for that. We're pure vanilla. Maybe a Great Divide type thing. You know, a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of chocolate. Well, that's it.
I think what he might have been saying, though, is you can bring planes 1, 2,
and
then land them to Burma, and then round 2, you can have the extra
his post
planes.
was very explicit that they could attack in turn 1. We'll move on. Yeah, I think ex-Joker, I think you've been denied, sir. But I do agree with your attitude that sometimes you do have to add a little bit of spice. Okay, Zymer Tracks. I appreciate your support of our glorious channel here. And I just want you to know that I'm your friend. I'm a friend of everyone, actually. Bryce is a friend of everyone. We're all gamers at heart, so we're all one. And then to our number 1 supporter, Joey Vieira. Thanks for the support, man. I know you really like watching these videos. So I have to critique, though, your post. You gave me no help, bud. You basically said the Allies, I don't know, which basically implies you don't know, which does not help me. But Bryce and you are kindred spirits. You both get hosed on the dice consistently. So I'm sure Bryce has some nice words for you, Joey.
Yeah, we could have a dice off, see which one of us is worse.
We'll meet at a neutral site and we'll have a dice off to see who really is the worst dice roller. So, okay, guys, we're going to get ready. I'll be back after orders in turn 3. Okay, guys, we're back. Middle of turn 3. So the bid came out. UK bid 3, Japan bid 1, and everybody else bid 0. So that's how it came out. So over here, brought in the entire subfleet, 5 subs down in the Caribbean. See, the Americans and British are coming up back into Eastern Canada, bringing some planes over. Allies brought them all out. We're sitting in A6 with all those land units. Now, the main reason why we wanted to go first was to pin the Italian fleet on M1 So they couldn't get their invasion out. So that worked out. British are coming up here on B6. We got our big throwdown in the Middle East. Looks like they got 4 fighters against our 2. And they got 1 more land unit. Up here, they came out of Belarus, going into G6. Massive throwdown in Bryansk. Looks like the Russians, though, have the advantage in land power. Germans are reinforcing Leningrad and coming over there into Karelia. Down here, we're mopping up the failed India campaign. Japan broke the pact, so off they went into Russia. And China decided the Japanese actually broke pinning to get back to Peiping and left 4 sacrificial units for the 24th to take, or for 24th is toast. We'll see. Down here, the British came over. The carrier fleet is shadowing them, so they sent in the carrier plane just so we wouldn't be able to get those 2 free shots on that oil. They came off out here, so they're off the coast of Australia. But the Aussies are getting loaded up. The Americans are coming into Wake and Marshall, marshalling all their forces down here. So that's where we stand at the middle of turn 3. So we'll see what happens in the big battle here. We got a couple. That one, the Middle East. So we'll see how it all breaks down. Be back to you at the end of turn 3. Okay, guys, we're back at the end of turn 3. So we'll see the guys are coming up in here. They actually hit this time and did 2 resources. Americans got their big stack of naval off of the East Coast, bringing that over. So we're just moving in here, down here in the Battle of M1. It was a push, but we stopped the invasion of Gibraltar. Down here, they came into the Middle East, and yep, they knocked them out. So the Middle East has fallen. Up here, though, they came in here with the 72nd into the Ukraine against those 4 infantry, and they could not roll yellow. It was not in the game plan. So we still got 2 guys left. And it was the same thing up here in the Battle of Bryansk. They came in, they could not roll yellows. Absolutely, it wasn't in the cards. So,
well, let's be specific about that. He rolled 36 dice over 2 battles and rolled 5 yellows.
Yes.
Again, take the Bryce challenge. Roll 36 dice, try to roll 5 or less yellows.
So, Russia is holding on with their infantry stacks, waiting for help. But the U.S. and Britain is off A6, so we'll see what happens there. Down here, they mopped up India. Came down here to P16. He sent his carrier plane in, and he got blown up on a double green roll. China retook, what is it, C4. Killed his 4 guys up there, and now they're consolidated up in Peiping. So it's like a 10 stack against an 8 stack. They came into Russia, but those 2 infantry, once again, he can't roll yellows. So they still got one guy left. They contested it. But they did take a Mur. So as we remember, guys, they're coming down here. And the Americans came in, took those islands. They're stacking up, getting ready. And we're going to do the stress and construction. So that's where we stand at the end of turn 3.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back, War Room fans. So after turn order. So what was it again? Japan bid 2, Russia bid 4, and everybody else bid 0? No, U.S. bid 2. So U.S. and Japan bid 2, Russia bid 4. So Russia won, went to the bottom. Japan won over U.S., went top, and then America went bottom, and that's how it filled out. So The Americans were planning on coming up to A2, but all those 5 subs jumped out into A9 into the convoy route. So, and they pinned them. So notice up here we're coming across into A3, the 27th going to Norway, 45th is up here in A4. Germany's putting the push on into R2, coming up here into Bryansk. Got a battle in the Ukraine going on. They got, how many guys you got down there? 4? 3?
3.
It's 3 against 2 guys, but I also got 2 fighters down there.
Yeah, you have 2 infantry and I have 1 of each.
Yeah.
So
down here, the Italians came off. British pushed in, but the Germans actually retreated from the Middle East. So 75th, I think, got left out to dry. So down here, the Italians gave up on that Gibraltar fiasco. But the Germans brought down a bunch of planes to try to take out that fleet. Notice they're building up here in Poland and Romania. Over here, Japan is coming in, trying to take out as much of Russia as they can. But notice the Chinese, they left an equal stack in the 102, and they're actually pulling off into Russia on the backside. British came over here into Iran. Down here, yep, they jumped the 9th. The poor 9th is off of Java.
You want me to draw?
Down here, the 77's coming into South New Guinea. Everybody else is just kind of status quo here, although we saw the Americans get completely consolidated now.
I know.
Over here. So then we see another 4 stack of ships being built on the west coast, a couple of infantry over there. And so that's where we stand after turn 4, or middle of turn 4. So let's see what happens with the combats. Okay, guys, we're back. End of turn 4. Now, I didn't video this, but I'm going to preface this recap here. Bryce got heated once again. Total meltdown. Mount St. Helens level craziness. So, for all the combats in this turn, I rolled the dice for every combat. I rolled it for Bryce, and I rolled it for myself. So, here's what's going on. U.S. is building up a bunch of stuff. We're building some more naval. Because the U.S. came out and got pinned by those dang Germans. They killed a cruiser and a sub, and they only killed 1 sub in return. Up here, notice America took Norway. We were going to go into France, but we wimped out. The Allies always wimp out on going into France. 51st and 90th is up here. 45th is up in A4. Over here, they took Archangel. So they got, what is that? That looks like a 6 stack and a 2 stack. But here in the middle, what was interesting was in the earlier turns, or last turn, Bryce was complaining he never could roll a yellow. He issued the Bryce challenge. So I'm rolling the dice, and I can't hit yellow. So basically, in that combat, Russia lost literally no units, and he lost like 6. It was ugly. Ugly, ugly. Over here in the Ukraine, mutual destruction. Notice how they got, what is that, 4 and 4 coming in? So they got 8 units coming in next turn. Another standoff in M1. It's getting kind of boring, this little battleship on battleship thing, because no one can actually kill each other. So they're just kind of sitting there. Down here, notice the Italians are sending in North Africa reinforcements. The 75th got blown up in Egypt. Where we're coming up, we don't have any builds in South Africa this turn. 60th is coming over. They're in Iran. Building a 5 stack. Up here, building a 5 stack in Moscow and a 2 stack in Volga. But notice up here on the backside of Russia, they're coming in And notice here on China. China's up there. They only got one guy there. But they got like a 6 stack there. The 102nd is tied up on the 95th. But they got like 4 extra units or 3 extra units over. So China is now reinforcing the back door of Russia, it looks like, or at least attempting. Down here, the 9th took them out. Over here, we're still just... The Americans are, I think, poised, ready for turn 5. Whatever they're going to do. I mean, and Japan is standing ready. So, notice that Japan's building, what is that? Double tank artillery up here on the mainland.
Yeah,
now.
that's why I always manually.
So,
that's why I manually control your units.
You know, they're building a battleship. Over here, you know, Germany's building another battleship. But we actually have, like, this is a strange game. In the sense that we're actually, like... We actually have like a Battle of the Atlantic going on. I mean, everybody's building naval units in the Atlantic, and no one has... I mean, we're all basically at parity here. So, it's going to be interesting. Now, notice on the stress wheel, Russia went up to level 3 supply lines. Britain's right behind them. Japan's up 1, and everybody else is still at 0. So, that's where we stand at the end of turn 4.
Right.
So, we're going to call it for the night. Let's get some feedback, guys. Where are we going? Because Bryce and I have been discussing this. And this is a very interesting game, in our opinion. I think it's still in the balance. It's a very even game. Wouldn't you agree, Bryce?
I think it's still open.
Yeah.
Still open.
It's a still open game. You know, we'll just see how it kind of breaks down. You know, as I was telling Bryce, I'd like to actually play a game, like take it out to the bitter end, and just see how it goes. Because we've never actually done that. We always like quit around turn 5 to 8 and just go, throw in the towel, I'm done. But actually play it out and kind of, you know, see how it goes. So, this is how we're going to end at the end of turn 4 on episode 2 of Game 8. So, let's hear some feedback, guys, and I will talk to you later.